Have you ever wondered what the world was like before the year 010101? A time so distant, so ancient, that even imagining it feels like peering through a veil of time itself. There were no calendars to mark the passage of days, no clocks to tick-tock away the minutes, and no digital alerts to remind us when to wake up or sleep, when to plant crops, or when to celebrate. It was a world untouched by modern systems, raw, real, and deeply connected to nature. But in such a world, without calendars and timepieces, how did people make sense of time? How did they know when to sow seeds and when to harvest them? How did they track the movement of the seasons or predict celestial events? How did they decide the right moment to begin a journey, hold a celebration, or prepare for war? This is a question that fascinates historians and scientists alike, not just because it touches on our past, but because it holds within it the very essence of human thought and imagination. You see, the story of time isn't just about seconds and minutes. It's about understanding how we, as a species, evolved alongside the universe's greatest mystery, the flow of time. Imagine waking up in a world where there is no date, no Monday, no Friday, no birthdays, no New Year's Eve, no wall clocks, no smartwatches, no apps to keep you on schedule. You open your eyes to a reality where the only rhythm is that of nature. Sunrise and sunset, moonrise and moonset, the changing winds and the growing crops. How would you live in such a world? How would you plan anything? How would you know when to rest and when to work? When to celebrate a festival or mourn a loss? You might think survival would be impossible. But now imagine this. You look around, and you see people who seem to know what they're doing. They're planting seeds at just the right time. They're preparing for harvest just before the rains. They're arranging rituals, ceremonies, even wars, aligned with something invisible, yet deeply known. This isn't magic, it's ancient wisdom. These were people who learned to understand time, not through numbers on a dial, but through the signs given by nature itself. They observed the skies, the stars, the moon, the sun, the shadows, the winds. They didn't measure time in hours and minutes. They felt it. They lived it. And this is where the story begins. Because long before humanity invented the calendar or crafted the clock, time was already breathing. We didn't create time, we simply tried to hold it. When we look back into history, the first evidence of humans tracking time doesn't come from any gadget or machine. It comes from stones. Giant stones placed meticulously, intentionally, aligned with the skies. These weren't just rocks. They were the earliest timekeepers. One of the most powerful examples is Stonehenge, a prehistoric monument in Britain. Massive stones arranged in a circle, not randomly, but aligned with the movements of the sun. On the summer solstice, June 21st, the sun rises exactly through a specific pair of stones. On the winter solstice, December 21st, it sets through another. It's as if the stones are whispering to the sky and listening back. And what's even more fascinating, according to a 2022 study, these stones might actually represent the 365 days of a year, each stone possibly marking a day or a week. A calendar not made of paper or screens, but of earth and rock. You might think that such wonders only existed in faraway lands. But let me take you to India, a land of ancient wisdom, where temples were not just places of worship, but sophisticated time laboratories. Temples like the Sun Temple in Konark, Odisha. Built over 800 years ago, the Konark Sun Temple is a marvel of architecture and astronomy. Shaped like the chariot of the sun god, it has 12 massive wheels, each representing a month. These wheels aren't decorative, they're functional. Each has 8 spokes, marking the 8 pahars or segments of a day. And as sunlight strikes these wheels, the shadow tells you the exact time of day. No battery, no Wi-Fi, just the sun and stone in perfect harmony. The entire temple is built in such a way that on 2 special days of the year, the first rays of the rising sun fall directly into the sanctum. It's not coincidence, it's design. It's science, disguised as art. This wasn't just architecture, it was time engineering. Our ancestors had already built their own time machines, not with gears and circuits, but with vision and understanding. Let's go back even further. In the earliest days of civilization, humans looked to the night sky. The stars moved, but more importantly, the moon changed its shape every night, from a thin crescent to a glowing full circle and back again. This transformation, happening roughly every 29.5 days, became humanity's first calendar, the lunar calendar. India's Panchang system, even today, is based on this very cycle. The Tithi, the Paksha, the Purnima, and Amavasya. These terms are all derived from the moon's journey across the sky. In ancient times, people didn't need watches to know when to fast, when to celebrate, or when to get married. The moon was enough. But while the moon gave us months, the sun gave us years. The Earth revolves around the sun in about 365.25 days. Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and Romans realized this and created solar calendars. However, each system had its own quirks. The moon's cycle gave 354 days in a year, and the sun gave 365.25. The challenge was, how do we align both? India once again found the balance. The ancient scholars created the lunisolar calendar, a hybrid that respects both the sun and the moon. Every 32.5 months, an Adhik Mas, or extra month, was added to sync the lunar calendar with the solar year. It was a brilliant mathematical system, designed without modern technology, but with cosmic precision. This calendar didn't just guide farming, it governed rituals, seasons, religious festivals, and spiritual rhythms. It was the soul of civilization. Meanwhile, in the West, Rome was struggling with time. Their calendar was chaotic. Festivals fell out of season. Crops failed because the timing was off. In 46 BC, Julius Caesar stepped in. He created the Julian calendar, with 365 days in a leap year every 4 years to adjust for the extra 0.25 days. But here's a twist. This calendar didn't even start at year 0. There was no 0 AD. The calendar jumped straight from 1 BC to 1 AD. And what's even more bizarre, historical records suggest that Jesus, whose birth the calendar was based on, was actually born 6 years before 1 AD. So the calendar's starting point was already inaccurate. Still, it became the world standard. But it wasn't perfect. Over centuries, the Julian calendar started drifting. By the 1500s, it was off by 10 days. So in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII introduced the Gregorian calendar. He fixed the leap year rule slightly, and to reset the calendar, he simply deleted 10 days. October 4th, 1582 was followed immediately by October 15th. Time, quite literally, disappeared. That's the calendar we still use today. 12 months, 365 days, and every 4th year, a leap year with February having 29 days instead of 28. But why 12 months? Why not 10? Or 14? The answer lies in the cycles of the moon and the movement of the Earth. The moon takes about 29.5 days to complete one orbit around Earth. That gives us about 12 lunar months in one solar year, hence 12 months. As for days, Earth rotates once every 24 hours. It revolves around the sun in about 365.25 days. That extra quarter day each year is why we need a leap year every 4 years, adding up to one extra day to keep the calendar in sync with Earth's journey around the sun. Now compare this to the Hindu calendar. Based on the moon, it has 354 days in a year. So to align it with the solar year, an extra month, the Adhik Mas, is added every 2.5 to 3 years. Not just one day like a leap year, but an entire month. Think about it. Thousands of years ago, without satellites, telescopes, or computers, ancient Indian sages calculated all of this just by observing the skies. They saw time not just as a line, but as a cycle, a wheel turning endlessly, birth, growth, death, and rebirth. Time wasn't just moving forward, it was repeating, flowing, circling. This concept became the foundation of Vedic time science, Vedanga Jyotish. It wasn't just astrology, it was astronomy, physics, philosophy, and spirituality woven together. To them, time wasn't something to be feared or controlled. It was something to be understood, respected, and lived. Today, when we see a new year marked on our phone screens, we celebrate with countdowns and fireworks. But few of us stop to think, what are we really celebrating? Is it truly the beginning of something new, or just another tick of a man-made clock? Time didn't begin on January 1st. Time never really began. It was always there, long before us, and it will continue, long after we're gone. So the next time you see a calendar or hear the ticking of a clock, pause for a moment. Don't just see time as something to measure. Feel it, listen to it. Observe it in the rustling leaves, the changing seasons, the dance of the stars. The truth is, we didn't invent time. We just gave it names, seconds, minutes, hours, months. But behind those names lies something infinite, eternal, and awe-inspiring. Time still speaks to us. Through the stars, through the moon, through the sun, through your very heartbeat. The only question is, are you listening, or have you forgotten how? Because maybe, just maybe, your time is yet to come.